What I'll be talking about is storage. I'll be talking about the three popular types, FireWire, SATA, fiber, and then I'll also be talking about the popular RAID levels. Then I'm going to get into backup and what it means for tapeless workflow. First, I'll just do a quick introduction who I am. I'm Curtis Harris. I work at Melrose Mac. I'm a sales specialist for video. So I have a technical background, and then I had to make money, so I switched to sales. So lucky for everyone, I'm a sales guy with an actual technical background. So when you have questions and things like that about workflow, I actually can answer them, because I used to do these type of presentations and go to red user groups all over and speak on workflow. Probably the three most popular storage types, especially when it comes to tapeless workflows, are FireWire, SATA, and fiber. So what I want to do is kind of get into, just a few little tidbits about each one. Okay, so FireWire, this is probably, I call this the crutch for tapeless workflows, because people always automatically resort to FireWire drives, mainly because of cost. You can get 1 or 2 terabytes for extremely cheap. You just run down to the store, get yourself a G-RAID or a LaCie drive, run back to the set and go. And there are lots of benefits to FireWire drives. One of the main ones is the portability of them. I mean, you can buy drives that are bus powered, like the LaCie Ruggeds, which are really popular in our store. They're inexpensive. They've got the little, you've seen the little orange rubber lining, so if you drop them, it's not as bad as, dropping an all-metal drive. And they're bus powered, so you can be on set with a laptop just like this, plug it right into the laptop, and no power cords necessary, and you can dump all your data onto it. Very popular for on-set, and also extremely popular for dumping the data from the red cards onto the drive, so they can then erase the cards and go back to the camera and keep shooting. So again, all three of these types that I'm going to mention, they all have a place. Not one is better than the other. It just depends on your situation. The other thing with FireWire is they're extremely scalable, meaning if you don't know what your budget's going to be for this particular production, you can buy a FireWire drive, and then if things go great and they order another show, you can go buy another FireWire drive and stack that on top. I always tell people, when you get more than 3 FireWire drives daisy chained together, that's when you should probably think about getting a RAID setup, or not fiber, but like a SATA setup, and I'll get into that. And the other thing with FireWire drives is they're reusable, so when you're done using them, and you do get SATA storage, it's not like you just throw your old FireWire drives away. There seems to always be a need for portable drives running around. So the cons are they are portable, which means they can be dropped and knocked and bumped around and put in a car, and these things happen. And I'll explain a little bit later, when you're on set, some of the safety precautions you should take with FireWire drives, because they're so portable and you can just grab them, put them in your hand or your shirt pocket. It's just, it's dangerous because they fall. And if you can imagine, if you're on set and you're transferring from, a CF card onto this portable drive, and then you say, oh, I'll make a copy of that a little bit later, and you throw it in your shirt pocket or your bag, and it falls out and hits the ground, and you've already erased the card, it's time to reshoot. So, you have to be careful with tapeless workflows, because these things do happen. Another con is that they have a higher failure rate, and I'll get into this a little bit more later, but a lot of people aren't cautious that the drives, the actual physical hard drives themselves that go inside these FireWire drives, usually they fail at a higher rate than some of the bigger storage. Because those companies do extensive testing before they put those drives in, because the storage is more expensive. FireWire drives, they turn and burn. They throw them in there and they send them out. So they do, and I know, because I sell these things by the boatloads, and they have a higher failure rate than some of the more upper class storage. Again, they're so cheap that you kind of weigh the pros with the cons, but it does happen, something to be cautious of. The other is, for the most part, FireWire drives have no data protection. There's a product from G-Tech called the G-Safe, which is basically a 2-drive FireWire setup that's mirrored. It's RAID 1. So whatever you copy to one drive automatically goes to the other, and you don't see it, it all happens in the background. The other one that I really like is, and it's brand new, is from CalDigit, and it's called the VR. And they just released that, I believe, last week. We've been waiting for it forever. And it's the beauty of that drive is that it does RAID 0 and RAID 1. The G-Tech drives, they have a drive that does RAID 0, which is the G-RAID that everybody runs out and buys. And then there's the G-Safe that does RAID 1. But you can't buy a drive that does both from G-Tech. The CalDigit drive does both. You can tell it you want it to be RAID 0, or you can tell it you want it to be RAID 1, or you could tell it you want it to be JBOD, meaning the computer just sees 2 physical hard drives. So it's pretty versatile. And then the other thing with FireWire is obviously there's a limit on FireWire. So, you know, you can only deal with compressed workflows and compressed footage with FireWire drives unless you're dealing in standard def. So if you're doing high def, meaning RED or XDCAM EX or whatever it may be, you can deal with that on a FireWire drive because they're compressed workflows. But anytime you want to get to uncompressed or anything like that, you have to go to something a little more higher end.